Hello, Capricorn. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. So thank you for being here with me. Thank you for deciding to click on the reading. I'm so stoked. I'm so excited. We got, yes, the Knight of Cups. This is, well, it represents in my world, in my vision, the beloved. Okay, now this might be like a romantic partner for sure. It could be. But more often than not, this is like that spiritual union. Like this is, guardian angel. This is animus. This is that part of self, the higher thinking, what they called the daemon. Now, not to be confused with demon, daemon, okay? This is that higher thinking, higher part of us. You could call it the conscience. You could call it, that an extension, or the interior or internal monologue or dialogue would be kind of an extension probably, right? So anyhow, let's not get into the fine details here. When this energy shows up, it is really about mastering those emotional waters, coming into alignment with our true purpose, right? Our true will. And that manifesting in our relationships, in the way that we live our lives, how we set our lives up. I'm excited to see what's going on here, Capricorn. We're going to turn this thing. It's always such a blessed energy to have. Okay. Now we're going to see how the energy of the card kind of coexists with these beautiful tea leaves. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and start. I like to just turn this thing. I want to look at it from the different directions and perspective points. We have that Omega sign right there. Now, I also, before we get really into the formations and symbols and so on, I want to say thank you, really, from my heart, so very deeply. I try to express my gratitude. I feel like I say pretty often how, honored I am to be here with you. And just because I say it a lot doesn't mean it's not true. I just cannot express to you just how lucky I feel. I mean, I do. I feel lucky to be here and to be able to share this energy with you. Okay, so thank you. And I know I have to say the thing. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you, which is true. But, I hate doing the little spiel. All right, let's go ahead. We have the Omega sign here. Okay, so the Omega is the last letter in the Greek alphabet. And we can perceive this as the end, right? The end of something. And so I feel that probably there has been a gateway that you have crossed through, which, let me just say, I'm not super knowledgeable about astrology, not by any means. Let me just tell you straight up. Astrologers are like unicorns to me, like good ones, okay? Because it is a mix of mathematics and sciences and mythologies and histories and then interpreting humans aligned with these kind of abstract ideas. And it is it's a lot. It's a lot you have to have like jumbo brain going because it's a lot. But what I understand as a very profane novice even, right? Saturn has gone into Aries. Okay, so we're in a time that really does affect Capricorn very deeply, right? Because, yeah, as a Capricorn, we're aligned with Saturn. And Saturn has gone from Pisces into Aries. And now we have gone into this very introspective time. This is a time where we are going back to our roots. We are doing that self-discovery. And now part of the healing process, part of the process of individuation, we are going to be clearing out some of those old blockages, right? By processing and integrating and, putting these, often, it doesn't always have to be painful things, but often, painful things. Saturn is about going through those old fundamental core memory. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's something that dwells in the shadow. It's been hidden for a long time. But during Saturn and Aries, it has been brought to the front. And now I've read, and this actually coincides with my own experience lately. And I've read in my comments and, just watching other readers and other practitioners and so on and so forth, that since about December, January, a lot of people moving into inner child work via your, shadow work, right? And so I think that this is an experience that a lot of us are having. We're feeling the pull of Saturn pulling us into the next, right? And preparing by this work really kind of showing up in our lives. And it's unavoidable often, okay? So I feel that this has been a time where you're beginning to really kind of seek some closure from the last part of your life. And I feel that this is really not just a transition into the next cycle, but this is really going into a new season for you. So I imagine that there is also a rite of passage that is kind of tied into all of this. So if that is something like graduating, maybe you're getting married, maybe you are getting into your era of parenthood, or maybe becoming a grandparent, retiring from the workforce, or, there's so many other rites of passage, right? Things that really mark our transition into a new season. And I'm just going to take a drink here. We have really poor air quality here right now because there are a lot of wildfires up in Canada, and all of the smoke is coming down and kind of sitting on the high prairie over here. And so I apologize. I probably sound pretty poor right now. But yeah, it is. It's just being inundated with smoke, there's so much yard work and stuff. I wanted to just like blow it off and stay inside, but you take your moments when you can, when you can get those projects done, right? So I'm sorry that I sound like that. And then we're gonna turn. Now, it seems to me we have a person up here The head would be over here, the body holding a scythe. So this is a symbol of harvesting. Okay, you've seen this with Saturn, Kronos, goddesses like Demeter, Persephone. These are the harvest. Well, Persephone is the spring goddess technically, but these are the goddesses in some of the gods, right? There are lots of harvest gods. Of course, the planting and harvest gods are some of the most popular. Because everybody likes to eat. We like a society that can be fed, right? That there are means to feed everybody. So that's what these gods and goddesses are really kind of tied to. And so I see this, but I also see down here it looks like we have a person standing here watching. Now, we also have an empty seat here, and over here it feels like we have another chair. Now, I'm imagining we have emperor, empress, okay? And that is a balance within the part of yourself, right, that is doing the administrative work over your whole life, right? It is the consciousness that kind of runs everything, that makes the decisions for you. And when we have the emperor and empress together, we know that there is this beautiful balance of masculine and feminine, and the stars and the sun and the moon and all these kinds of things. But here we see that they are both empty, and we have kind of almost, I feel like this feeling of observing, of watching, of witnessing somebody in your life kind of reveal themselves as being an opportunist. And I really, I don't mean to imply ever that this is something that you would have missed in somebody, or like you were oblivious to their character or their, MO. But I feel like this one actually has left you quite surprised, because I feel like in this situation, the person feels like you have such a genuine connection to them. Right? Like, I feel like this seems like somebody who you really allowed yourself to open up just a little bit, at least, right? To let them in. Now, I wonder if this is somebody like a coworker, or, if you have a business, maybe it is somebody that you're in partnership with, or something like this. It feels like there's a blurring of friendship and working together. But here's the thing. I feel like it almost is like you've been misled, or anyways, you feel like you've been misled. But at the same time, in this situation, I feel like seeing somebody kind of move so ruthlessly, and I think that's really what it is. It feels ruthless because they're being aggressive about getting what they want, right? And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't really know the context, but what I do know is that I feel like it kind of almost invokes something within you that reminds you that you yourself can be quite shrewd in the way that you move for self. And I don't mean this in a way that is disrespectful, because, I'm an ascendant Capricorn. I'm allowed to talk about it. No, I'm kidding. No, I feel the same way. I'm not saying that I'm like a person that will, try to get over on someone. I try to play fair. I'm definitely a mom, definitely a mom friend, mom person in most aspects of my life. I like things to be as fair and as copacetic as possible, right? But, you know, sometimes you have to really move for self. Sometimes you have to really, make that decision that's going to hurt some feelings, or not everybody's going to like it. But you know what? That's okay, because that's life. And that's how things go sometimes. And so I feel like where this situation could have been something where you're like, whoa, I don't even know where that came from with this person. Like, I'm out of here. I don't want to be involved in this. I don't think that you are deterred. I think rather it kind of inspires you to up your game. I feel like this next period of time, and for you, Capricorn, because listen, look, our expressions of emotions are very different, one from the next, right? So what you might find to be overly emotional might be right on target for somebody else, especially of a different sign. So what I feel like for you is that you're getting into a place where you are mastering your emotional reactions and output. And this is allowing you to really kind of tighten up and make the moves that you know that you want to make. And not feel that like, that when you're diving off of a diving board, right? And you freeze up just for a second and you kind of stumble forward. And that's usually when you end up doing like a belly flop or something, or you get your back real hard. But when you just go out there and you do it with confidence and you get right in there, it doesn't hurt at all. You've made the perfect dive or whatever, right? There's precision. And that's what I think you're getting to, is this like beautiful precision, a balance of allowing yourself to express emotion but not be reactive in a way that is counterproductive for you or your goal. And I see you really, I really, really feel like this is going to be a time in your life where it's all coming together. It feels like the larger picture is all coming together. Now, I'm kind of seeing this like image. It reminds me of like almost like those adobe buildings in the southwest of America, out in the desert, where the buildings are made of, beautiful clay, gorgeous colors. I'm also thinking of the late period of Georgia O'Keeffe. Oh my gosh, we all know her as, having painted these beautiful flowers, and they are very kind of, devotions to the Yanni, which I love. I'm there for it. I'm here for it. But she also took beautiful pictures, and in her later period, kind of almost this like desert macabre, very like shadowy and arid photos, very a lot of contrast, a lot of muted. You have to go look. They're very haunting and gorgeous. And so when I look at this, I almost feel this it's like you have this ability to exist in places that almost feel intolerable, like the very cold, or the very hot, humid, lots of, bugs. I mean, if you live in the tropics, right? We all think of like, oh, I want to go to a tropical island and and just kind of live and kind of convalesce from my modern life or whatever. But you also have to be able to deal with like a lot of bugs and stuff, and this is where my mind goes. I'm like, oh my gosh, mosquitoes and all of that. But I feel like not only actual environments, I feel like are drawn to extreme places. I mean, that's like you love the like ocean, very warm ocean or very cold. Like you're somebody that wants to go live in like Newfoundland, up in Canada where it's very, very cold, which I have considered myself actually. I'm always looking at, moving to like upper Maine and stuff. So I feel like this also kind of blurs over into your life, just like social situations, work situations. When you're under a lot of pressure, when the stakes are high, you are on point. And you don't need like the comforts of the world to get you through it. You are just that pinpoint precision in your mind. And this is what I see over here. And you might be thinking, how does an adobe house kind of coincide with that up here, right? But we also have a person down here, head, body, holding, and it looks like a fish. We have another person over here seated, and there's a bird right here. You can see kind of in a seated position holding something. So like bringing something over to them. We have another bird here, and we have a bird up here. So to me, it brings forth this imagery of that kind of almost like a oasis, a mirage, right, in the desert, where you find that place where they have a little bit of water and a little bit of shade, and you've been going through it, but here you can kind of rest for a moment, and I feel like for you it's like you were coming through this portal in your life. You are ending something. It has ended, and now you have begun, right? And it feels like for the first time in a long time, it's kind of clicking into place. You are feeling that confidence you haven't felt for, it feels like years. This happens to all of us at one point or another in our lives, where we get stuck. And maybe it's just that we're kind of on autopilot. We're going through the motions. We're tired. We're trying to keep up. It's a rat race. It's mind numbing, all of that kind of stuff. But then I see, there's this moment of waking up, and that's painful. We wake up in our lives and it's painful because we know we have to change things. We have to sacrifice some things. We have to let go. We have to move forward. We have to conceive of something else, which is even more tiring than letting go of what we already know. But once you do it, once you get going, life shows up for you. The universe works in your favor. It always will. It will provide. And you begin to understand that. You begin to trust yourself again. And you begin to get into that place, that flow. And things are coming together. And you have eyes to see. And you are wiser yet. And I know you are, because you've worked so deeply on your emotions and how you are sharing those with the world, right? How you are reacting, how you are treating yourself, how you are witnessing things in your life that might feel almost startling to you, but you're meeting it with an open mind, and you're allowing yourself, even when something seems, this is trying to my morals, my ethics. I don't, I shouldn't support like a shrewd businesswoman, like this. And we're talking about the person you work with. And I'm imagining it's a feminine person because it does feel like they get a little bit of a bad rap for how aggressive they are. Now, I imagine that's a feminine person. So, you meeting that with an open mind and seeing like, oh, I can take a few notes from how they are moving. Even if it is kind of something that I'm like, whoa, I didn't know it was all like that. I didn't know that they were capable of that, And so I see this being, if us adults could have leaps, have you heard about leaps? So there's like this new way of, I don't know how long they've been talking about it like this, but when kids are young, when they're babies especially, they say they go through these periods of time where they, they start getting a little more cranky, they're eating more, they're sleeping more, maybe they have like a sleep regression, and then all of a sudden they have this leap and they can start doing different things, like it feels like overnight, but all of a sudden their brain is, growing and being coded, in such a way that, they can do all these things. Like, they go from like not being able to roll over to like one day they're all grumpy and stuff. And then 2 days later they're rolling over and starting to crawl. And you're like, oh my gosh, like, you were just a little a little squish a few days ago, And so I wonder sometimes, do us adults have the same kind of thing that happens, right? You hope so, but sometimes they do. I think we go through these periods of like, just chaos in our lives. The emotions are running high, and we're realizing, hey, I need to like fix some things about myself, maybe adjust them a little bit. And we do it, right? And you get these like outcomes that are almost kind of like, wow, I should have done this a long time ago, So Capricorn, I just feel like this is such a time of like powering up. You're leveling up. You're becoming. All right. So we have the number 7 seems really important coming up in this next cycle for you. So look for the number 7s. There's like a younger sister energy. Maybe a friend that's younger. Maybe it's a sister. Maybe it's like even your oldest daughter that's called sis or sister. But I do feel like there is almost like a being pushed towards this person for you in this next period of time. I feel like they're going through maybe like a breakup or almost something like they went to school and they got, maybe pretty far, and all of a sudden decided they didn't want to continue with their major or the kind of work that they had planned on. And, not that that's a huge deal, but I feel like for you, you kind of almost experience this person as being really impractical. And you're a very practical person. And I feel like it's hard sometimes for you to understand why they do the things that they do, because it seems frivolous most of the time. For you, like I wouldn't spend that kind of money, or that's a lot of time you invested for something that you're not going to do anything with, that kind of thinking, right? But I feel like you always show so much grace with this person, and you're really their comfort, safe person in life. And I think that this is just coming forward because I feel like it's a real indicator, really just like how deeply and how like openly you can love somebody, I guess. Is it openly? I don't know how to explain. Like, I don't feel like you care about people, of course. I don't feel like you would consider yourself as loving a lot of people. You're selective. You're discerning. Now, in a greater sense, yeah, you love a lot. But I think that you have only a few people that you let into your inner world or, your private life. And yeah, this one I think is one of the important ones. And I think that in this next period of time, this is going to be one of probably actually the closest relationship you have. I feel like you're going to have a closer bond in this cycle. So that's something to look forward to, because I really do. I think this is like your partner. Like, you're really best friends, deeply, deeply close. Okay, now let's do our 3 lucky numbers. Okay, we have number 45, 75, yes, 75, 45, 75, and 69. Nice. 69. All right. So we will finish with our Wild Bohemian affirmation cards. And I'm just going to flip through, stop where it feels right. 19, I am love. Embrace and appreciation of your unique desires. Free to be unfurling bliss. Free to be unfurling bliss. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so wrecked right now. We have been so busy with like beginning of summer activities. It's been wild. Now, yesterday, though, was awesome. I took my daughter, I set up like a meetup thing for some of her friends, and I took her to the lake, and we flew kites. I know, it sounds really boring, but it was actually the best. I found the ultimate wear everybody out. And also, at the same time, somehow you can just stand there and stare at the sky. And the wind is blowing and it's very peaceful. And yeah, you're just like so worn out afterwards. I love it. We are going to be flying kites all summer. My daughter was worn out. So that was perfect. She came home and went to bed. I'd love to hear what you've been doing to prepare for the next season. If you are going into winter in the southern hemisphere or going into summer here in the northern hemisphere, I'd love to hear what's going on with you. What are you doing? What are you planning to do this next season? I'm doing a lot of gardening. I'm going to be outside. That's, you're going to find me out there. We're going to have a fire here in a little bit. Well, maybe. I mean, the smoke outside's really bad from the wildfires, so I don't know. But I had planned on having like a little campfire. So we'll see. But anyhow, let's do our Dreamers deck cards. And I'm just going to stop where it feels right. I know that pure joy is the result of being in alignment with my soul. I am true to myself. I am true to myself. All right. Capricorn, Capricorn. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, I'm going to say goodbye. I got to go have some warm tea for my throat here. And I love you. We'll talk in a few days. Good night.